Welcome, everybody, to HR Tech Talks. I'm George Rogers here with you today, and I'm glad to be hosting once again. I'm excited about our guest today, and I know that it will be some value to you as well. Just a couple of announcements, just some reminders as well. We have our HR Tech Awards that are still available. You can go and visit that website at hrtechawards.org for your business and organizations that's looking to be highlighted on that as well. I know a lot of our previous visitors and guests here on HR Tech Talks have been award winners. And so some of the things we like to do is really highlight them as well. Today, we got a special guest, and I want to bring him up because I want to spend a lot of time discussing the awesome platform that they show. And so I want to welcome today a special guest, Rob, who has an incredible story. And I know that you're going to enjoy the conversation as well. Rob, welcome to HR Tech Talks, and I'm glad to have you today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, George. I'm excited to be here and to talk a little bit about what we do.
Awesome. So let's do that right now. Let's tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. Maybe some things that, people may not know that you love personally as well.
Well, okay. So I'm Rob Dwortz. I'm the co-founder and CEO of BU, which stands for Become Unmistakable. And we're the maker of UMap and our leadership training platform, You Lead, which is a new brand, by the way. So we haven't even launched it yet. If you knew a little bit about me, I'm an avid skier, unfortunately, and as I've shared with George already, that ski season came to an end last week with an ACL tear in the middle of a mountain. So I'm a little dinged up today, but still happy to be here. My role with the company is co-founder and CEO. I think I mentioned that. I'm all about people. I'm a recovering bank CEO. I have a long history in the financial services industry, but really found my wheelhouse when I started leading teams, groups, and overall organizations. And that's where a lot of the things that we do at UMap today come from. So happy to share a little bit more about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And crazy small world, as we were discussing, we kind of connected with each other. I was in the retail space back in 2013 through 2018, 2019 with some good friends. You're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And so, Gary, Steve Jordan, Kyle Wainwright, some good fellas that I was a part of a great company, wireless company, tech company as well. And you were a part of that with your bank. You know those guys very well. So it's a small world. That's great. And I've been excited to really have some conversations with you over the last few weeks. Rob, in regards to, transitioning, right? You transitioned from a bank into this tech world that is HR. What kind of problems and what really got you into this space? Like what made you leave the financial institution into more of an HR tech space?
Well, in financial services, unfortunately, and I'm an Xer, a lot of things that we talk about have to do with generational experiences. Growing up in the financial services industry in Chicago, Detroit, I saw a lot of the bad side of culture, very transactional nature of culture. And that was fine when I was on the receiving end and I was a doer. But when it came my time to lead people, I realized that it just didn't work. And a focus on relationships at a serious depth of relationship with the people around you and that work for you is really important to true team function. It couldn't all just be about numbers, but I also found that when I was in that role and I could develop deep relationships and focus on the success of those people, that the numbers followed, right? And so what put me in the position to do what I'm doing today is I was the CEO of a bank that was sold, and I was the seller, and they didn't need two of us. So they said, "Here's your hat. What's your hurry? Go do something different." And that gave me a chance to spend some real time thinking about what makes me tick as a professional and where I would like to go from some modest success in career to something more significant to me personally. And that's where I collaborated with a great friend and co-founder, Mike Novikoski, who was leading a commercial construction company. And we had a lot of alignment around how you treat people in business. And we came together and we decided to found and launch Become Unmistakable and build software tools and training programs to really make it available to a lot of different people. And honestly, to have an impact on people's lives, right? That's what gets our feet out on the floor every day, is that we actually get to impact people, make their lives a little bit better by humanizing the workplace. And that's how I got here.
That's so awesome. So we talk about, the development of talent and how important leadership is. Leaders like yourself that understand, that get it, that seen it, the good and the bad, and sometimes the ugly when it comes to workplace culture. With UMap, what kind of problems are you really solving with the technology that you're providing for your clients? What are some solutions that they're finding within your platform?
Well, we definitely tackle some of the what I would call traditional issues of disengagement, retention, and attraction, actually, and the costs associated with those. Burnout is high on our problem-solving list, but I guess I want to cut to kind of maybe the core of what we do, and that is supporting employee well-being and performance simultaneously by really setting up managers. Okay, so one of the really big problems that we've seen, and it's gone on steroids through the pandemic and since, is the rate of burnout and the deteriorating confidence of managers in any organization, right? That lack the skills or training to manage in an impossible situation. So the things that UMap does, right? It gives a manager of any level, from CEO on down, the information they need about their people in order to accelerate and deepen relationships with those people, right? So they can create some bond, and then information that aligns what success means to organization and the individual, so that then they can be coached with confidence. And it acts as a training mechanism for managers with all kinds of resources and tools that help them deliver this highly personalized experience that elevates well-being and performance at the same time. So that's traditional stuff around retention and engagement, team function, but it's really about focusing on that manager relationship and that confidence.
Yeah, and that's so important. We just recently, and it's some data we're about to release as well on the mental health and well-being of employees. 62% of the employees said that they would perform better and be more productive and engage in the workplace if the well-being was being supported by a company. And so understanding how important it is that employees are wanting this, right? They're needing and desiring not only for the company to provide well-being support, but for their leaders to be advocates of it as well, and talking about that. How important is that, and what are you seeing in that regards?
Well, we're seeing it similarly, and I think we've talked about, we do some kind of unique research ourselves, and focusing on the well-being of managers, and we've seen this issue with managers play out in extremely high turnover rates and burnout rates in managers, and especially senior managers, right? So this concept of well-being, so important. One thing that we saw is that there's an increase in the willingness, certainly of our younger generations, to raise a hand and say, listen, I need support, right? I have the mental health, my concern about mental health is affecting my work. But one of the things that we found when we break out our research is that men in the workplace actually have not been willing to identify or label mental health. So that's one of the things that we're really trying to spend time talking about, bringing awareness to, and I've done some posting myself on that around my own mental health. That says, listen, gentlemen, you need to make space for this conversation in the workplace, because a lot of other people are raising their hand and saying this is an issue. So that's just one kind of side thing that we found. But more than anything, and I should note that our work is also based in brain science alongside our research, right? Is that when we focus on creating psychological safety in the workplace, that leads to employees feeling safe enough to then show up as their authentic selves and feel like the sense of belonging that they need, that then will lead to other forms of really positive outcomes in the workplace. It combats burnout, turnover, obviously, and many other things that create poor cultures.
Yeah, it's so important. I always say this, and Ben, he gets excited when somebody says research and data. I get excited when somebody keeps saying culture and leadership. And I always say that all great company culture is a result of great leadership culture, right? Leaders should always care and caring for their teammates, caring for your team is a must. It's not a maybe. Like I may care about you
Right.
today, Rob. Like it just might happen. But when you talk about belonging, how that really ties into the leadership, the psychological definition of that, we always say is that when an employee feels like they are respected, accepted, and appreciated by their direct leader, creates that sense of belonging. When it comes to the mental health and in particular, especially in the men's side, right? I grew up as a man, and whenever I cried, I was always told to shut up, be tough, men don't cry.
Yeah.
And so we've grew up believing that this this false tense of as a man you don't show emotion. But in reality, we must. But we've gotten to this place where we created that, and then you throw in mental health, and it's like, then you got one person over here from another generation said, "You're not cut from the same cloth as I was when we grew up. We just fought through this," and we have a younger generation now that's saying, "No, this is important to me, and I don't want to be a part of an organization in a company that doesn't understand my mental health." When it comes to those things, again, another stat, and maybe Ben's rubbing off on me, but 63% say if their employer offer better health and well-being benefits, they're more likely to stay with their company. And one of the things I love that we discussed very recently with UMap is the retention phase, what that provides. I want to jump to this because I'm interested in, for those who are using your solution, your clients that you have now, when they're thinking ROI, sometimes it's always tied to money. How much money are we making from this? Or maybe even how much money are we saving? What's the feedback that you're getting from clients that's using your platform now in regards to ROI? Yeah,
well, it's been actually really, really direct. So we're excited to have some data to share about it. But I guess I want to really quickly recap. Our software helps create, again, deepen and accelerate relationships by helping managers and employees understand more about each other, right? Deepen relationships. It's really about sharing personally and professionally, right? And then we have a fair amount of reporting that we provide from that information that gives insights into themes, but also individual aspirations of the people. And then we have a continuous coaching platform. So we have this very human performance system that we do on a continuous basis. So those are the things that we're really doing to connect people regularly, right? To really reinforce culture. So that context is important in the answer to the question, because we have organizations that have now measured their financial performance based on a culture that the foundation for which is UMap and our training, right? And we have, I'm gonna have to cheat and look at some specific data because this stuff is fresh off the press for us. But the effects of creating deeper relationships within their organization, and then taking that relationship skill and taking it outside their organization to customers, community stakeholders, et cetera, in their business. And we have one, it's actually a construction company that has really generated significantly higher margins in their business as a direct result. And one of the big reasons is they're able to retain and attract talent at wage levels that are significantly lower than their competitors. So they haven't had to fight this wage war. So that obviously raises their margins, but they're also able to staff the growth that they've seen, whereas a lot of their competition hasn't been able to do that. They've had their growth stunted as a result of not having access to talent. So that's a really important thing for them. They've also found themselves in being spec'd into or being able to be in a negotiated setting for their contracts as opposed to a competitive bid setting. 100% attributed by them to this concept of relationship focus that they've established through working with us. And that's going to raise their margins because they're not competitively bid. And then they go on to talk about the cost that they save because of incredible safety records, low cost of rework, so their quality is better, and just running more efficient projects. All of these things, and we're in the process of getting the actual dollars, but it is an exponential return on their investment that they're seeing. And I can go into manufacturing, financial services, security industry or business services, and give similar results. So people are really saying, look, when you focus in on these relationships internally, they translate externally, and they drive the business. And then I could go into many testimonials about just the environment and what it creates and how people feel more belonging and the impact on DEIB as well. So it kind of goes on and on and on and on. So I'll stop there just to give you more time.
No, this is great. I would say, I guess to follow up with that, what kind of trends are you watching closely then as an organization that's going on? Maybe if there's something you're looking into in the future, or something that's really kind of hot off the press for you right now in regards to the workplace or workforce in general.
That's a great question. It's something that we're kicking around and trying to formulate right now, because we have some research that we're going to start looking into. And I know we've talked about maybe partnering with you all too, which would be a wonderful partnership. So we're really trying to pinpoint where those things are. One is the evolution of what it means to belong, and we've seen some of that evolve over the last 3 years. And so we're always trying to check in with people. Most recently, this concept of meaningful development opportunities for people has crept into the definition of belonging based on our research. And I know in the definition that you gave a few moments ago is 100% spot on, right? Because feeling like a part of the team, like you belong that way, being recognized, super important. So we're interested in where belonging is really going, because we design our tools to create more of it. And so we've included things like learning styles and information about what people really want to learn to inform development opportunities into our software more recently. So we're going to continue to do that. But also, what are the best, most tangible ways to support employee well-being kind of in the moment? That's another place that we're really trying to reach into within and understand and see where we might design more of that into our programs. Because well-being, we're just scratching the surface on this, and it's just being defined, and the real impacts are going to come out, right? And we want to try to get a little bit ahead of it and be a part of the solution, and just be alongside. It's not a real tangible thing, but it's there. And then we're collecting data on the impact of things that we are already doing, in order to make sure that we're on the right track and that people are using it. Because that's one thing that we are very focused on. We want to have data from our tech that people actually use, that they're not overwhelmed by, that they can access, use, and act on.
Yeah. In regards to, one of the things that, again, that UMap does, and I believe it's really promoted. I mean, you can see it on your platform, is when a leader is connected with their employee, their team member, they're engaged in that. What are some of the benefits that you see in regards to the growth, right? George wants to grow. Rob, you're my direct leader. What experiences, that drive me to engage? What is it about me that really gets connected? How does a client or a user on your platform, from a leader standpoint to a direct team member, what's the benefits of those things when it comes to creating that positive employee experience / engagement? I'm at this area now where I've had engagement, but really when it comes to well-being, Rob, what I'm seeing is a lot of employees, when they say well-being and they want all these things tied together, it's about employee fulfillment, right? I want to be fulfilled. And part of that fulfillment is that I belong, I'm engaged, I have a great experience, and it's all because of Rob, my leader. What is your platform doing for your clients on that standpoint?
Well, it's given the information and the roadmap for in this case, me, as we're having a conversation, right, to support your definition of success. We are asking our people, our employees, where do you want to go, right? What are your professional and personal aspirations?
Yeah. How
do you plan to get there? What is your plan? You're the driver, I'm the support person, right? And then we have an iterative conversation that combines my understanding and the relationship that's authentic, right? And your definition of success, and we teach managers how to support that. Now, it's not all kumbaya, right? It is very much also a collaborative conversation that sometimes I'm saying, hey, George, you're not aiming high enough, right? You could do more than this, and I know you can, and I'm supporting you that way. Occasionally, it's saying, George, I think I think I see where you want to go, but I don't know that your plan to get there is quite on point. And maybe you should think about being more patient and doing a couple of these things instead or along the way, right? So it creates that built-in opportunity and environment for us to collaborate at a deep level that, again, is human and accountable. But I'm focused on your definition of success, right? Where do you want to go? And that's what we're really trying to impart on people, because the folks, every employee, and I'm included, like, I want to have some autonomy over my life.
Yeah.
Right? That's part of what defines my fulfillment. I want to be able to have experiences that are meaningful to me. That is a definition of belonging, right? You see, hear, respect, and act for me. And that's what we're trying to help organizations do in a very organic way, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a really good experience so far.
That is awesome. It's as if then you're empowering that employee, that team member, to really say, you know what, I'm not going to force you to my growth pattern that I desire for you for the benefit of the company.
Yeah.
What is it that you want to do? And really empowering the employee, right, to really fulfill their success story, their story within the company organization.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Rob, just as we kind of wrap this up together, is there anything specific on your heart that's really just kind of driving you right now, that you're very passionate about, or that is just kind of holding you, that you like to share and maybe give some insight and encourage others out there today?
Wow. Well, that's a big one. Yeah, we're passionate about a lot here. And I guess I want to focus on belonging and the concept of really putting it into an organization in a way that respects everybody. One of the things I'm most proud of today that I didn't mention in my ROI data is one of these organizations said, listen, since we started doing this, we have been more accessible and acceptable to people that are female and of color in our organization, where we were historically white male dominated industry and organization. But the fact is, when you really open up belonging and you open your hearts up to including anybody, it shows and it helps your bottom line. Like, this is for real. And one of the things that I guess, and I don't want to appear negative on this, but some of the less, the more discouraging things that I see is where some people are not tracking performance on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, or they're abandoning their ESG plans and things that have real social benefit. That's a discouragement to me. So I am really encouraged when people work with us and really double down on relationships and belonging. So, and it's really not that hard to do.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It's just all about asking the right questions and respecting people and having conversations, and then infusing that culture into your everyday work.
Awesome. Rob, if somebody that's watching right now, listening up to us, wanted to connect with you or learn more about your platform, what's the best place to connect with you to learn more?
Well, you can, my Rob D at myumap.com, little UMap, myumap.com at our website. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Would love to meet with anybody out there. And I know there'll be some links to this. So those are the three best ways for us to connect. We're a small company growing fast. We're a dozen people, and we're adding clients pretty quickly. So it's exciting, and we'd be happy to connect with anybody.
Awesome. Once again, Rob, I appreciate it. Our conversations are always informative, and I'm always leaving inspired with what y'all are doing at UMap. I appreciate you so much, and thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it, George.
My pleasure. Wow. Yeah. UMap is doing incredible things. And again, you can find that platform, myumap.com, as well as reaching out to Rob on LinkedIn, and we'll throw that information into the chat here in a second. And so I want to thank everybody again for watching HR Tech Talks. George Rogers here as your host. It has been an awesome conversation. And I've been incredibly blessed with some of the resources and the knowledge that Rob shares. He's a great guy, and I encourage everybody to connect with him as always. As a reminder, with our HR Tech Talk Awards. Again, you can visit hrtechtalksawards.org. We'll be announcing our winners for 2023 here in a few months later this spring, and we're excited about that. As always, you can join and subscribe to more HR Tech Talks, and you can visit hrtechtalks.org as well, or visit lhra.io for more resources on all things that we have here at Lighthouse Research and Advisory. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, y'all be blessed. And always remember that true leadership does not want anything from you. True leadership wants everything for you. Have a great day.